All right. So, welcome everybody to the First Friday Entrepreneurship Call with K-State Extension. The purpose of the First Friday call is to help local communities and small business know about the experts, the education, and the economic resources that are available to help them. As always, the call is being recorded. A little unusual this time because it'll probably be next Wednesday before this is posted. Our colleague is out of the office, our webmaster colleague. So it'll be a little while before it's posted, but it will get there. And so the recording and the slides will be posted online. Um, as at the end of the call, we're going to give you a 3-question survey, and we find it extremely helpful. Number one, so think about this. We're going to teach to the test and tell you what we're going to ask you. Did you learn something today that you can use immediately? And number two, how many people will you tell this information to so that they can learn as well? And number three, an open-ended question about what you learned that was most helpful to you. And so, with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Sheri Hart, who was one of our speakers, our very well acclaimed speaker at the Kingman Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities Conference. And Sheri, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I won't do justice. But Sheri's going to talk about unlocking the power of local search.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to do the quick little share my screen dance here, if you'll be patient with me. So we'll get this going. Can I get confirmation that you can, in fact, see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. So we will get started. As she said, do a quick introduction. My name is Sheri Hart. I am the Group Discoverability Director at VML, which is a global creative agency, actually the largest creative agency globally. We have offices clearly all over the world. The office that I work in is actually out of the Kansas City downtown airport. So literally I can reach behind me, and the window behind my desk is a runway, and the planes are coming and going as we do our work every day. But super excited to be a part of an amazing award-winning performance content team. I have a little over 20 years of agency experience, with 12 of those years being content and content compliance focused. So that had to do with working with businesses that were very highly regulated and what you can and cannot say about them through the means of advertising. And then 15 years of that are going to come with leadership experience, which is really kind of where my heart lies in the workplace. Bringing humanity into the workplace, keeping humanity in the workplace is just something that I strive to do every single day as I work with the people who are on my team. As you can see, just a quick note about me, something that I did at a previous agency was developed a coaching and professional development program. And when I came to VML, I found my coaching and development program because the woman who I am working with on the Discoverability team used to work at my previous agency, and she brought it with her. So it was very fun to step onto the team and see that coaching environment alive and well. You see a little bit of a logo palooza here. It's not an exhaustive list, but these are clients that I have written for. When I say performance content, my team focuses on search focused content in the digital space. Essentially, your clients cannot do business with you if they cannot find you, if they cannot discover you. So that's what our work is all about. So some of these clients that I have spent a reasonable amount of time having to sort of learn to be an expert in a lot of different industries, and then speak as that person digitally online for them in their own properties and their websites. So that is what I do. You can see some awards I've listed here. I did not win those awards on my own. Those are awards that were won by my team. I'm just super proud of it. So I go ahead and share those out as well. So, what we are here to talk about today is the landscape of local discovery. I think you're all probably familiar with what local search looks like. You may just not have understood the engine that was behind it and why you were getting served up certain materials. So we're going to just start at the very beginning. Very good place to start. So, how your customers find you is what local search is. So, it focuses on optimizing your online presence, getting those customers to you, knowing where you are. Like, this is all about a really specific geographic area to increase your visibility. You're looking for, whether it's foot traffic or online conversions, or, if you have kind of a lead form situation where someone is going to maybe request a quote for your work. That's the type of conversion that you're looking for. And that's why it's so important for people to be able to find you in the now. So, what drives local discovery? What I've got here are a couple of different ways that local search is served up to you. So, I'm assuming that you have probably seen responses like this when you have made searches online. So, it's very familiar to you, but just so that you sort of understand, the local pack is that piece that you'll see. This is really, really relevant in the mobile space when you are searching for a restaurant near you. I need a certain part for my car near me, things like that. You're going to get that sort of list. And then if I were to click on any one of these listings, it will pull up their Google business profile, which is where we're headed through this presentation. The local organic results, that is your generic search engine results, but they will have a local focus because of proximity, which is where we're going here. But I'll give one little nod to the generative AI response. That is becoming a much bigger piece in the search space. It is changing some of the search landscape. But you'll become familiar now with the fact that Google has this process where if the question you're asking is something that can be answered essentially with a Google snippet, they're going to go out and pull that information and bring it to you. And so, as a business owner, that is an opportunity to understand what your clients are searching for, how they want to find you, and making sure that you have content that is super relevant to that and answers those questions. That's going to be the key way to get discovered in generative AI. So how do these rank? Like how are we seeing these different businesses? Proximity, so location. When you are searching for these things, you'll notice like this one's 0.3 miles away from you. This one's 2 miles away from you. Like they'll rank it sort of in the proximity of how close that answer to your question is to you in this moment. Another piece that plays into ranking is prominence. So that's going to be how well known is your brand, your reputation compared to that local competition. Is one name something that you've really heard? Like in this particular example in the local pack, you see a Shelter Insurance and then a Strong's Insurance. Shelter Insurance has that brand recognition and managed to get in front of Strong. But you can also see below it there, Farm Bureau, which is also a pretty recognizable name, is actually under Strong's Insurance. So that's going to tell you that they have a fairly strong local presence. In strong, didn't mean that to be a pun, but anyway, they have a fairly strong local presence in order for them to appear above Farm Bureau in that listing. And then relevance. So the whole idea is how closely does your content match what those people are looking for in that moment? Many people sort of start to understand how to stuff keywords in, how to sort of trick the system to get shown. But Google has figured that out long ago and will search through the back end of your site and it will know that you are not actually providing the relevant information that someone is looking for, and that will impact where your listing would appear. So it's a lot of work to do that for not a lot of return. So why is any of this important? Because the cost of confusion is way too much, right? So your local presence cannot be a guessing game. If I asked 10 different people I wanted to go to Goodfellas Pizza and I asked them about it and I got these answers from them, It would be less than inspiring. I would be like, does this place exist? Is it where I think it is? It must not be any good if people haven't heard of it. Like, what is happening here, right? So there are so many different touch points across a digital landscape, and it is so important to make sure that your information is clear, correct, precise, and relevant to what you are trying to drive traffic to. And it will build that presence with that consistent information. It will build that presence across all of these touch points. Primarily, what we're talking about today is that Google piece because it plays into a lot of these other spaces. So, the power of local search. Let's talk about why it matters. We're going to go with the big numbers first. So, how many Google searches happen every day in the United States? I won't be able to see it, but go ahead and maybe we'll throw some guesses in the chat, and then y'all can tell me who got close here. I'll give you a minute. How many Google searches happen every day in the US? I am going to answer it before I think you have time to actually Google it. So I'm just going for real guesses here. All right, 3, 2, 1. 16.4 billion with a B. That's a big old number, right? Probably doesn't surprise most of us. Many of us who are in kind of a business or entrepreneurial space, we use the internet pretty extensively. So we're pretty familiar with the fact that a lot of this is going on every single day. But what we want to focus on is within that number, how many of those searches are local? You think, oh, okay, well, that's going to pare that way down. Yes and no. The answer is actually 46%, so almost half. So it seems like a much smaller number, but in reality, it's not. Like that is still a big old number, right? And so that is local searches. And local searches are people who want things near and now. So, how many of them turn into a sale or service? 28%. You think, oh gosh, that number's getting pretty small now. Not really. 2.1 billion searches turn into a sale or service, local searches. And so, what factors into whether or not they're going to turn into a sale or service? It's really that race against time. And so that's why when you are looking for, when you are looking to get your local presence out there, you need to get it there, you need to get it in front of people because 88% of local searches that result in a purchase happen within 24 hours. So it's time, right? It's about people want this now. So near me, 72% of consumers that did a local search visited a store within 5 miles. So, like, we're talking about a small a window of time and a small window of space when you are looking to drive local search. So those are big numbers, right? But we need to back those up into what it looks like in smaller business, entrepreneurial, smaller towns in the state of Kansas. So I wanted to put some real numbers to this. This is a real population of a real city in the state of Kansas. I have a little stat here for you to know. The average Google user performs 4.2 searches per day. I love this stat mostly because it's the one place where I can clearly say that I am above average. So I search Google probably 4.2 thousand times a day, but the average user. Now, in order to work these numbers for you, I'm actually going to use it as if each person does one search. And the reason I do that is because I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, you're giving me all these big numbers trying to make it sound so important. No, I'm going to break it into the tiniest possible number I can show you to show you that that still matters. And know that, like, I don't work for Google. I have no skin in the game. I'm not here like trying to push you into using Google. So that's not my play. I want to give you the real numbers so that you can make that decision for yourself and your business. So if I start with this population and we're going to take it down that rabbit hole of all those numbers, 46% are local, 28% turn into a local sale or service, 806 And that's the minimum number, remember, 806 opportunities for a business to make a conversion of some kind. And then if the stat still holds true, 709 of those happen within 24 hours of when someone searched. 709 opportunities to make some type of sale or conversion. It's not zero, right? Now at the bottom, you see I kind of also listed what are called out of market visitors. And that is just simply if I am driving through, I'm going to Colorado and I'm driving through multiple towns in the state of Kansas. Anytime that I make a purchase or have dinner or do anything in any of those towns, stay at a hotel, get some gas, I'm an out of market visitor. So I took in some out of market visitor numbers from this specific city, and it basically adds up to approximately 44 more purchases or visits or conversions in that day. So again, the number is not zero. So, some other kind of fun number stats that I just throw out, like if there are any other sort of number nerds here that just kind of like to know. I showed you that listing of how the landscape of search is so wide. There are so many touch points where people are searching now. It's changing rapidly when, TikTok and Instagram and other sources are entering the search space, and along with, of course, ChatGPT and the LLMs. So the search space is huge. However, in this moment, Google is still king, over 90% of all searches. So it does matter what your presence on Google is, even if you can speak to all of the other touch points that you need to be aware of. And your online presence matters. We are just in a place in our time of life that to not have an online presence will absolutely hinder your opportunities for success. So 97%, pretty much everyone at this point, learns about a local company online over anywhere else. And so that's going to be word of mouth. That's going to be the newspaper, radio, television, billboards, traditional media. Like all of those things are great. Many of those things are necessary depending on what your business is, but 97% are going to find you through a web online presence. And then if you look at that next number, 61% of mobile searches are more likely to contact a local business if they have a mobile friendly site. I think most of us have been online, you're looking on your phone, and the website is absolutely so hard to navigate. Stuff is over to the side that shouldn't be, buttons are in weird places. It's just not a good user experience. It's not a mobile friendly site, and many of us don't have the patience for that anymore. It's like, this is really difficult. I'm going to my next option. I don't have time for this. So having a mobile friendly site also matters. Most design platforms everywhere from WordPress to, Python and all the craziness, most of those platforms will literally have a place where you can just like toggle and say, what does this look like on mobile? And make sure that you are designing with a mobile presence in mind. The last one is page one. Page one of Google results. 92% of searchers, again, almost everyone, will pick businesses on the first page of local search results. Most of us do not have the time to like search through all of that, click the to button, search and see some more. Some people will. If I don't see it immediately when I get my search results, I change what my query was. I like, oh, that's operator error, right? I didn't get what I wanted, so I didn't say it correctly. I change the prompt and I get new results and find what I'm looking for very quickly. I've always kind of told the joke, like you could hide a body on page 3 of Google and it would never be found. So it does matter the efforts that you put forward to increase your search presence. So your digital front door, how do we do some of these things? There's a lot of different tools that can be used when you're looking to promote a local business. Many of these really play more into someone who's going to have 20 or 30 locations. things like that, that really make it hard to manage, because as we'll talk further, being on top of and managing these presences, words are hard, are going to be critical to your success in using them. But for today's conversation, we're talking about Google Business Profile, also more importantly, because it's free. So Google Business Profile, it's been called some other things, Google My Business and some things, but currently goes by the name of Google Business Profile, is a free tool. Free. Did I mention it's free? Just making sure. So it's going to give you an opportunity to manage your online presence in the largest web space available to you. It's going to make sure that it gives you the opportunity to help manage and facilitate your Google search results, where you appear in Google Maps, when people are searching for your company or the relevant services that you offer. You'll notice in this one, my search was Lawrence, Kansas, bakeries. I live in Lawrence. So, and I got a couple of options, and I chose this one because it really is about as close as you can get to what I would call a best in class Google Business Profile. So we're going to walk through what they're doing right, and maybe even call out one thing that they did that might kind of bend the rules, but we can understand why they did it. So when you are going to build your Google Business Profile, the most important thing is this foundational information, and that it is accurate and complete. So you're looking for your legal business name. Don't try to throw a bunch of keywords in it, additional additions, or unnecessary additions, or nicknames of what people call the business. That is not the place for it. We want your legal business name. The reason for that is because, again, as I talked about all of those touch points, there are going to be places, business directories, and different, your LinkedIn or wherever that is, that will name that business by its actual legal business name. So that's why the consistency matters. One of the things I'll point out, this is the only thing I would have to say about the Wheatfields profile, is that their business name is actually Wheatfields Bakery. And you can see they've tagged it as Wheatfields Bakery Cafe. Now, the reason they do this is because they actually are a cafe. And most people, if you just heard bakery, you think you're going to go in, get a loaf of bread and some pastries and leave. You don't understand that you can sit down and have lunch or dinner at Wheatfield. So I understand why they did it, and it wasn't overly done. So it makes sense. But just calling it out so that you know that that is slightly different than the typical best in class recommendation would be. You want your precise physical address. This is, of course, mostly important if you have a physical space. If you don't, and you're an online business, or your business goes to the customer, like you're a carpet cleaner, and so someone will reach out to you, you give them a quote, and then you go to their house to do your business. So if you don't have a physical address, you can basically put in information that shows this is the service area of this business. But if you do have a physical location, just make sure it's very clear. Make sure that address is very clear on your space, and make sure that if you were to put that into GPS, that it actually gets you there. Making sure, because sometimes you'll follow a GPS and you end up in a back alley somewhere and you're kind of behind a building. There are things you can do to kind of get those adjusted. So you want a correct phone number. Use a local phone number that you actively monitor. My preference would be that you actively answer it, but I also understand if there's one or two people running this business and it's busy and you've got customers in, of course, your answering machine is going to pick up your voicemail answering machine. I'm 100 years old. Your voicemail will pick up that call, but please make sure that you're actively monitoring that number. You'll list your primary business category. Again, this is going to be just the most accurate thing that describe your core business. And again, this is about relevance. This is about what are people looking for when my business is the right answer. That's that primary category. And then you can add some sort of relevant secondary categories to beef that up without again making sure like those need to be very relevant categories, not just like, ooh, I think these are popular, so I'm going to put them in here. You can see in the Wheatfields example, they've listed that bakery, cafe, and sandwiches. So again, that kind of gives you that idea, oh, wait, I can get more than like bread and pastries in this place. The next one is your business hours. So, maintaining accurate and up to date business hours, especially for any kind of special hours, holidays, or events. There is nothing more frustrating than I am looking for a place to go, like a restaurant. I'm looking for a Mexican restaurant. I find one, it's, you know, zero point 0.4 miles from me. Like, let's go. We're going there. Is it open? Yes, they're open for another 3 hours. Cool. We get there and the place is locked up and dark. I mean, you're like, what? Where are they? Like, what is happening? So please, even if it's literally that you just had to go because you have a family emergency or whatever it is, you're letting your employees go the day before Thanksgiving, you're letting them go early so they can get to their families, whatever those things are all fine and perfectly valid. Just make sure that you're updating your Google business hours, and that's also really important if you have like special events or special things that you want to make sure that people are aware of for your business. And then the last one is a link to your official website. Not everyone has an official website. I recommend it, but I understand that some people just operate in the sort of social space, and that's okay too. But if you have one, make sure that it's mobile friendly and then make sure that it gets listed here in that foundational information. And if you can do nothing else for your business and for your profile than to do this, please do this. The rest of it is just where we start to talk about how do you create that compelling content, create engagement, like try to drive people to choose your business. So in this particular case, why would I have chosen Wheatfields over the other option that was given to me when I searched for bakeries in Lawrence, Kansas? I pull up their profile and I'm going to start looking for information that's going to help me make a decision one over the other. So it says detailed business description, compelling, keyword rich description that highlights your unique selling points, services, your target audience, talk about the benefits of what you bring. And again, avoid that sort of keyword stuffing, just like thinking, well, if I put this in here, more people will see it, because it just makes people irritated when it's not relevant to what they're looking for. So, detailed business description. This does not have to be elaborate, right? You see in the bottom corner there, Wheatfields Bakery is an award winning artisan bakery, cafe, and pastry shop located in downtown Lawrence, Kansas. So, what do I know from that? Wheatfields, I know their name, award winning. So that kind of gives me a clue like, okay, maybe there's a quality note there. Artisan was a very specific choice of words, like not necessarily a standard word that you would hear, but gives you a vibe, right? About how they feel about the breads and pastries and food that they make. And then bakery, cafe, and pastry shop gives you kind of an idea of all the different options. And then located in downtown Lawrence, Kansas. So I knew it was in Lawrence, but now I know it's downtown. So I kind of know what direction I'm headed, right? So the next thing is about high quality photos and videos. The photos, when it comes to Google Business Profile, the photos are more important than the videos. High quality videos are exceptionally important in your social media content. But for Google Business Profile, the photos are actually more relevant. So you want to show like an exterior photo, make it easier for customers to find you. You see this green awning, you're like, why would someone post a picture of their sign in a green awning? Well, because if you've ever been there, you can be driving down the street and you can spot wheat fields from like 2 blocks away, right? So you know where it is. And so I think that it's kind of a calling card, if nothing else. But when you're looking and you are someplace that you don't know, and you're like, oh, that's it, that's it. It's got the green awning, right? Like, so something very specific about it. Interior photos, you can see they have done one here that is well lit, it's bright, it's clean, it looks like a place that you would feel comfortable eating food, right? You can't read the menu because it's very small print here in this image, but you can see that it's fairly comprehensive, right? So all signs point to yes, that this might be a place to go. Then they have the photo of the food itself, right? This is not a photo of just some random person's plate. This is a photo that they curated and put on their site to make it look really delicious, which I think it does. I think that well played. And then obviously they're a bakery. So there's this photo of the loaves of bread. And you're thinking, well, loaves of bread, that's not very compelling, except for it's very well done and actually makes that look like I would drive down there right now and grab a loaf of bread. It looks delicious. So they have done a very good job of telling me how to find them, what it looks like, and the different types of things that I'm going to find when I get there. And I'm like, that looks amazing. I think I'm going to wheat fields. When I talk about the importance of good photos, it's the same as, like, say you're on Zillow, you're looking for a home, you put in, I want 3 bedroom, 2 bath, this amount of money, and it gives you this whole list of options. The first one, no photos. I am less likely to engage with that property because I want to know what I'm looking at. The second one has 2 photos, one of the front and one of the back. Not helpful. Like, I want to know what's inside before I'm going to invest my time and my agent's time to go see this house, right? The next one has 42 photos, but the place is a mess. The carpets are gross. You can see the cracks in the walls. You can see water stains. I mean, the pictures make it look like it smells, right? So, why would you post like just not attractive photos at all when you're trying to get someone to come see your home or come to your business? So, the photos should show a clean, safe environment that someone would want to be in, right? And then that final one shows you like the home has been staged, it looks clean, it gives you that feeling of confidence that these people care. They have maintained this home. Like the other one, you're like, I'm going to get in there and it's going to be a trap full of things that need to be fixed, right? So the clean one, you're like, oh, this makes me feel safe. This makes me think these people actually care about what they're taking care of, and so it will be there for me as well. So that's why those pictures matter. Like, people want to know, where am I going? What is it? How do these people run their business? Like, is this the business I want to choose? So that's why I think the photos are important enough for me to sit here and talk about them for that amount of time. So the next piece of this is what we call reputation management. So this is going to be about the reviews that can be posted across all of the touch points, but also within Google. So make sure that if you're talking to a customer, you've helped someone out, and they're like, oh my gosh, that was exactly what I needed. Thank you so much. And you'd be like, awesome. When you have a minute, if you could post a Google review, I would really appreciate it. It is okay to ask for a review when you have a really positive customer engagement. Like, some of them will do it, some of them won't, right? But the people who have a terrible experience, they'll always do it. So when you have one of those great moments, something goes well, or you just kind of, you've provided your service, someone says thank you, be like, my pleasure. When you have a minute, please go write a Google review. I would really appreciate it. The next piece of that is to respond to the reviews, and that's positive or negative, and to do it promptly and professionally. There's no need to be like snarky with people. Like, if people are just being hateful and rude, don't bother. But if someone literally is saying, like, hey, I was here, I didn't get what I wanted, or it immediately broke, or whatever their complaint is, um, respond. Wow, we're so sorry you had a bad experience. We hope you'll give us another opportunity. If you come in and ask for Sheri, like, I'll make sure that we can get your product swapped out, or we'll get you this, or we can get you 10% off of your next purchase, or something to try to re engage with that person and hope that maybe they were having a bad day, or you were having a bad day, or it was just one of those things. And you can sort of re engage them with that experience. And then obviously positive ones, just like, hey, thanks for letting us know the experience was great. Please tell your friends, right? Like just stay active, regularly checking any kind of reviews or mentions that happen. And it makes a huge difference in sort of that trust and the authority of the brand, which is, as I said, one of those things that Google is feeding on as it's figuring out who it's going to serve up in search results. That authority piece will come into play. So, as we were talking about that maintenance, um, for the Google business profile, one of the biggest pieces of this is that it has to be maintained. And when I put accountability to it, it needs to be a line item in someone's job description. Now, if you're a sole proprietor, it's you, right? But if you've got one or two people that kind of work for you and help you run your business, whatever that looks like, and one of them is kind of your office manager or the lead of the two, that person, as you hire them, you're like, one of your tasks in all of these lists is that you help us maintain our Google business profile. It's that important. And that way someone is accountable. So if it doesn't happen, it's not like, oh gosh, we just sort of missed that, right? So that's going to be, as I said, monitoring and responding to reviews promptly and professionally. Answering questions. Sometimes people will be like, hey, do you carry XYZ? And you can be like, yes, absolutely, we do. You know, our hours are such, please come in and see us. Or even if you don't, you can say, you know what, we don't carry that, but we do have this that might be helpful. Or if you're a really good friend and you know your buddy down the street actually does carry that and has that, you can say, you know what, we don't offer that, but I do know who does, and give them that information. Because if you don't offer it, you're not losing that business anyway. So you might as well help someone else out. But that's, answer those questions. People, if they are going to bother to ask a question in your profile or, in your web presence, they want to know the answer. The other one is for any kind of specials or events. If you're going to sponsor any local events, if you have any kind of specials that go on, you can get that information, within your profile so that people can see it in the description, or they can see it in other notes that are listed where you can kind of put information about your business. The other key to that, again, is maintaining it. No one likes to, go to a website and it's like, congratulations, 50% off for Mother's Day. And you're like, that's amazing. It's July. So, not helpful if those things aren't kept up to date. So those types of things within your Google business profile and your web presence need to be updated and maintained on the regular. And then, as I said before, updating your business hours. My example of the Mexican restaurant was because that's actually happened to me. My partner and I were staying fairly close to a small town. We were camping and we decided we'd go into town. And we got there, and like I said, it was dark, and with no explanation, nothing was updated on their site. We found out later that people in town knew they were going to be closed because they were having their carpets cleaned, and they had posted on their Facebook page that they were going to be closed. So people in town knew that. The out of market visitors did not. So that's why it's important to make sure that all of that information is correct and maintained at all times. So we've talked about all these different things, but I just kind of want to show you how it breaks down the anatomy of discoverability, building best in class when it comes to a Google business profile. It also kind of is relevant across your digital footprint. So keep that in mind. But because we're talking about the business profile, all of these things are specific to that. So accuracy and completion, consistency, responsiveness, and timeliness. So that accuracy, again, business name, address, phone numbers, your photos, and all of that is the completion piece, that robust, version of your profile. The consistency across your Google business profile. Talk about your business in consistent ways so that anything you're saying on your business profile, if someone were to go to your website, they're not going to be confused. Is this the same business? What's happening here? Like, you talk about your business in every space that you talk about it, whether that's social media, your LinkedIn, a business directory, your Google profile. Talk about it very consistently, because that is the way for Google to pick up all of those signals. This is a real business, and it has relevancy and authority because of the consistency of its brand. So responsiveness, again, answering questions and reviews is very important. You see the dotted line to timeliness, because answering those questions and reviews in a timely way is very important, but also updating the business hours, any kind of special events or specials that you have that have to be kept in a very timely way, to make sure that those are being monitored and maintained correctly. So if all of those things are in play, you have done your due diligence. You have done your very best to get your brand out there, to get your business, your products, your services, whatever that is, out there into the digital space for search. And then you can kind of start, working and tweaking your actual, like, web content and presence, so that it plays into that profile and starts to build the authority to your brand name. So, all of this being said, this QR code should take you to some step-by-step instructions to set up your Google business profile. If you already have one, it will just kind of help you remember some of those additional things you can do to beef up that presence, to make it more comprehensive, to understand the keywords that you want to be stressing, and making sure that people understand your relevant business categories. You can make it much more comprehensive than it already is. But if you haven't set one up before, this does start from the very top and offers you step-by-step instructions to allow you to set up a Google business profile. So I will leave this here for just a few more seconds if anyone wants to go ahead and get a scan of that. And I will provide, because I'll be providing this deck, and then I can also provide the PDF of this set of instructions in case you were not able to get to it through this scan. I will provide that to the team so that they can provide those materials when this video is posted live. But other than that, I want to say thank you all for your time here. And we do have some time available for some questions. If anyone has those, I'm going to exit my screen and unshare, so that if anyone has questions, I can come back and hopefully see everyone. So are there any questions that you would like to ask right now? And then also, once this deck is provided, my email address is on there. So you are welcome to reach out at any time. Happy to answer kind of key marking questions for you.
That was wonderful. I think we've all been disappointed to arrive at a doorstep. I made the comment, Sheri, you said sometimes you end up at the back door. I went to my home community. That was the address that was listed, and it was dark and everything. Turns out that my hometown has built a plaza on the other side of that building, and I missed out on the opportunity to try the new brewery. So I couldn't tell it. I was so close and so far. Yeah.
So close yet so far away.
Yep.
Any other questions that I can help answer?
I have a quick question, Sheri. If you
Sure.
could timeline out how much time a month or how much time a week, or really point to if you're going to assign this to even yourself for self-discipline, or to an employee that maybe you're going to assign a new task, how do you outline like how much time they really are going to have to spend
I
once
would
it's set up and going?
I was going to say, once it's set up, I wouldn't think it's going to take more than 30 minutes.
Okay.
And, like a week at max, because all it is there anything that has changed? Because unfortunately, people can go and put comments and different things in there. even though it's not their profile. And so you want to make sure nobody has said
Comment.
anything or anything. Like, has anything changed? And if not, then you're good to go. Is there a review you want to comment? Anything? Nope, we're good. And if you're not like changing your hours or making any major changes to it, that's all you need to do. It's just peek in. Did anything change? Nope. All right, I'm good to go.
Okay.
Doesn't that kind of require that person to be monitoring the site to, um, I mean, having it open so that they see when a question comes in?
If you want to, I guess it depends on the amount of time. Like if someone has the time to like check it daily, absolutely, you can keep that open. But most people, once you become pretty familiar with what it is, I would, maybe check it twice a week just because of the timeliness of answering questions. But I don't think you have to feel like I have to like have it on my phone at all times and be checking it at all times.
Okay. We do have two questions in the chat. How do you post that you are not open but will be there by appointment? We have a nonprofit that we cannot open 100% because of lack of volunteers, but we would gladly be there if someone calls and sets up a time.
I think, and without going into the platform itself, there are places to put kind of additional note, like an additional note. And if you can't find that, like if you don't feel like there's something that is prominent enough, I would put it in your description. So you've said you're a nonprofit working with, this particular audience. We welcome the opportunity to work with you at any time by appointment only. Like, and that's an easy thing to call out right from the get.
Great. And Deanna explains to me, if nobody else, that you can set up alerts when you get reviews and so forth and monitor it that way.
Yes.
Michael says that they frequently get request or questions about how to respond to negative reviews.
Again, you have to respond to them. It sucks. Like nobody wants, like you, me, I don't like to get bad feedback, right? Do you like to get bad feedback? I don't like to get bad feedback. So nobody likes to hear that. Um, the the main thing that I recommend is, unless someone is putting like literal like hate speech and stuff on your page, then absolutely work to get it removed. But don't delete stuff. I mean, Google, you have to go through, there's processes before you can delete, but sometimes on other sites, you can just delete comments and delete reviews. I tend to say, unless someone is being really malicious, don't do that. Like if it's just a negative review, don't delete it, because people then will come back and say, "Oh, well, you deleted my review, so now you're trying to hide something." Like they'll call you out for that. So don't delete them. Just respond. Sorry you had a bad experience. What can we do to, rectify this? Or I hope, maybe we were having a bad day. We'll help you, give us another opportunity to come in and try the business. But don't, like I said, unless someone's being really hateful or malicious or like violent or something like that, don't delete them, because people do notice that. And it just looks worse than if you just took the time to respond. And even if it's just an apology, like, hey, that sounds like a really horrible situation. I'm sorry that happened. We hope you'll give us an opportunity to make it better next time, something along that line.
I often think the businesses that I'm most loyal to are the ones that respond well after a negative experience.
I mean, because it happens, and how people deal with that can show a lot about who they are and how they run their business.
Yeah. Likewise, those negative comments, we can see a hater for what they are.
And that's the thing. Like most people can recognize that. Like if you see someone just listing a bunch of nasty stuff, people are like, they're a jerk, right? Like they're rarely gonna like come out and they're gonna know this person is not playing nicely in the sandbox. So like I said, I recommend, unless it's really hateful or malicious, to not delete them, because it just makes it worse.
It's good advice. Anybody else? Sheri, thank you so much. And was able to open that PDF, and it was worth the price of admission.
Oh,
It was
good. Good,
great.
good, good. Like I said, I will send you the link to it just in case someone was not able to access it. But thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you can say there was one thing that you learned today.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks for joining us, Sheri. And I'm so impressed that you are the largest global
Oh,
contact.
it's
That's
a huge agency for sure. I just live in my little piece of it. Bye.
awesome. That's wonderful. Well, today, a big day for all of us. The applications are now open for the 2027 Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities Conference that Sheri was part of in Kingman this year. Um, the site is open on August 1st, and the applications are due by August 31st. I'll put the site in for the host apps. Um, if you applied before, you should have received a direct application from me yesterday. The next conference is June 25th and 26th in 2026 in Cortland, Kansas. And you can check out um, that information as it comes up on the website that I just provided to you. Um, Remote Work Wednesday is August 13th. This is a monthly call with K-State Extension. Mike Ball, who is an independent software consultant developer, is going to be the speaker. Just lost my script. And Mike will talk about software from on-site to rural business, and he's got the experience to show us and for us to learn from. Give you that application site. Um, then um, of interest after you talked about AI in Atchison, Kansas, the third Thursday of every month, they are doing an AI wake up roundtable, and they're making it available to all of us. Having screen management problems. Sorry about that. They have a Facebook group, and if you're in Atchison, you can join them at 7 a.m. And if you're not, feel free to join them online. We still have two online grant writing workshops. The first one will be in Dodge City on August the 19th, and the second one will be in Stafford County at St. John, Kansas, and those are listed in our events page. Um, let's see. And finally, if you have a statewide event that you would like to promote, please send it to me and I'll add it to the First Friday meeting notice, which goes out to about 1,700 Kansans every month. If you don't have it, finally, this is to Sheri's point about leadership and how much of a difference it makes. If you are not part of an organization that gives you access to the Kansas Leadership Center training, you are free to be our partner. I just ask you to follow the KLC leadership path and tell us why you want to be part of that, and be our partner to get those benefits. So, speaking of benefits, next month our speaker call is employee benefits for small businesses with Brandy Willett, who is the regional director of SBDC. And I imagine that there are people in your community who need to know that. Even if you don't need to know that, please help them get that information. And finally, I always like to leave you with a little thought for today. If what you're doing on your website makes you feel inadequate, then live by these words. The words "could be better" are three words that open the door for insight, understanding, and improvement. When we care enough to say that could be better, we're putting ourselves on the hook to create. Because once you've announced that it could be better, you get the chance to show how it can be done. Those words are Seth Godin's. Thank you all for joining us this month. We hope to see you next month when Brandy Willett will tell us about benefits for small businesses.